So, welcome everybody to the final session of Werewolf. Sadly, we're down 2 players tonight. Couldn't be helped, but it's been a good run, and depending upon what happens in this particular session, there may be a future for some of these characters, and there may not be. We'll see.
So
wait, we can die?
If two players are missing, then does that mean we only get a half PK tonight?
Possibly, yes. So,
Wow.
when last we played, we had just engaged in a strange confrontation with the Ricard Muller that you have been chasing for some time in the rear garden of Birgit Van Gelder's house. And he had some abilities that were very odd that you all had to contend with. However, several interesting things happened. Zev reached Rage 5 and actually shifted into his full war form after being booted to the ground and having these strange tendrils like pierce his chest. Lenexia, I think, is currently the only person who's not... Or no, did you shift to Crinus form? Do we have three full Crinus form wolves currently?
Yeah, I think
Did you shift right before we finished last session? I think you did.
I think so, yeah, because I got pissed off. And then...
Right. So we left last session with 3 werewolves in full war form. 9-foot tall slavering beasts of fur and claw and fang. Standing around, watching as this man, who also seems to be somehow a plant in some ways, like he had strange vine and branch-like tentacles he was able to exude, and at one point rooted himself to the ground and actually appeared to drain the life from all the plant matter around him. But he, after struggling with our heroes for a few moments, shouted something about them not being the ones, and he ran off into the woods behind Birgit Van Gelder's house, which we established last session is heavily wooded, but is probably more of like a city park. So there may be some open spaces, but from what you can see, it is quite wooded. So here we have our 3 wolves standing in the rear garden, and the first thing I think we're going to open with is Birgit Van Gelder stepping out onto her rear patio and seeing the 3 of you in your war form, just as she sees Ricard Muller running into the woods. And she shrieks the most high-pitched, blood-curdling shriek you can imagine on seeing these massive slavering beasts in her rear garden. And she immediately passes out.
Phew.
In response to that, the first thing that happens is Aaron instantly shifts back into human form and runs to her side to make sure that she's all right. And he looks at the 2 of you and says, "Go after him. I'll call I'll call Fenton. We can't lose him. So what do you two do?
I think I will growl in acknowledgement, because I remembered why I ended up turning into war form, because I still have the sound of the screaming plants in my mind.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And the thought that he's literally going into a forest, it's just like, no, I've got to stop this. So literally plant the feet in the ground, curl the toes, and bound as fast as I can after him.
Okay. Now, I want to point out, and this will be for you too, Jake, on your, description of how you're going to start. This is still technically the same scene. However, although you can normally maintain a form, a supernatural form for a scene, Crinus form is a little bit different. If you want to maintain Crinus form, you either have to spend a point of willpower, which, by the way, you can restore willpower equal to your resolve or your composure, whichever's higher. New session, get some willpower back. But you either have to spend a point of willpower, or you have to attack something and kill it in order to maintain Crinus form. And that's every round.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
So otherwise you risk going into frenzy if your willpower bottoms out while you're in Crinus form. Now, Jake, I know we kind of said that you frenzied, but it wasn't a true frenzy. You can drop out of Crinus form if you want to. And it's your choice. You can drop into human form, which would be a free shift. You can drop into wolf form, which would be a free shift. Or you can drop into Hispo or Glabro. Glabro being the man wolf and Hispo being the dire wolf, right? Those still cost a rage check to shift into. But you can maintain those for a scene with no trouble.
No, I'm okay with staying in Krynos and
for now, to try to catch up.
Yeah, and I think if I have to go to human form, it still won't be that big a deal because 3 big 9-foot hairy creatures. I'm used to having dinner with my wife's sisters, so it's not unusual for me.
So, I mean, neither of you are going to be able to kill anything this round, so you're going to have to pay that willpower point. But assuming you're chasing, like this is going to be a chase round, and so I'm going to need athletics and strength tests from both of you.
Okay.
To try and catch up to Ricard.
Athletics and strength.
But you do both need to spend that willpower point because you didn't kill anything last round.
I'll lose the willpower. Wait, where's my tracker gone? I think I've been underestimating my rage. I'm in war form with 2 rages. It's insane. But yeah, I'm angry.
Oh, look at that! So,
wait, is that?
No, that's good.
Okay.
So you're engaging in a physical activity. Chase is physical.
I thought for a second it was only combat. I was like, shit, I'm gonna.
No. Anything physical. So like a chase, climbing a wall, a feat of strength. Those things all, a brutal is a good thing. So that's a total of 5 successes for you. Jake, do you want to go ahead and roll for?
I did go. It's right above.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
You just
it's
have
very easy.
all rage right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so 1 success for Jake. All right, and let's roll Ricard.
Whoa.
Okay, 4. So, and rounds in this case, in terms of maintaining your Crinus form, they're not just like 6-second rounds in D&D, right? Like I can stretch them out a little bit for narrative purposes. So as you chase Ricard into the woods, Lenexia perhaps is over angry because of the death of the greenery and the siphoning of their life force away. and she begins to pull ahead of Zev, even as he still is also enraged and in his full war form. The two of you are darting into the woodlands. And as you, you approach Van Gelder's house early evening. We had decided that the moon had come up, so it's early evening, but it is full dark at this point. So maybe, thankfully, the park that Van Gelder's house backs up on is not currently populated by people, because as most city parks, generally they close at sundown, and you're not supposed to be there without special permissions. So you chase him into this park, and you can see in the moonlight Ricard looking quite normal, looking like a person in a rather tatty but still well put together suit, beige, of course, running across this field that probably during the day might be a place where people are, throwing frisbees, maybe sitting out on blankets and having picnics. But at night, in the light of the moon, it's just an open expanse, and you see him legging it very, very quickly, heading towards the other side of the park and possibly out into the suburban streets of Manitou Springs in an attempt to lose you. However, while Zev just manages to get into the open space through the woods, Lenexia is able to catch up to Ricard. So why don't you describe for me how you catch up to him, and are you going to attack? Are you going to tackle him? Are you going to try and take him down? What are you doing?
Are you muted? Is he on the phone?
Jake?
I think he's on the phone.
Yeah, I think.
My apologies.
Yeah, no, it's fine, Jake. Yeah. But that question was for you, anyways, Tony. What is when Nexia actually catches up to Ricard? Yeah. What are you gonna do?
I think my main thing is just to stop him. I'm not gonna say like the main goal is just to stop him. He's what do you call it? He's a bane.
You assume so. You assume he's infested with a bane. Yes.
Yeah. He's
possessed is another way to put it. Okay. And banes are spirit creatures.
He's possessed with such a powerful spirit that seems to be killing life itself, which is the plants, which is everything, and that is just something that goes against everything in every plane of knowledge that I hold, be it from when I was a wolf, from what I've learned of humans, from what I've learned from my tribe. It's just against everything like that. So it's just, I need to put a stop to it. It's just, I'm going to get to him and just pounce on him. My plan is to try and, if I'm chasing after him, to try and get his... See, I'd say I'd try and get his arms in front of him to block his arms, but then they'll be touching the ground, so I'm not sure. I think without thinking, I'd just pounce on him.
Okay.
To be honest.
Are you going to attack as part of that, or are you just purely focused on bringing him down?
Oh, I'll be attacking, yeah.
Okay. So
when I say stop,
go ahead and
generally mean I'm probably going to attempt to kill him.
Sure. So go ahead and make your brawl and strength check.
Strength brawl.
Oh wow. Okay. Would you like to spend a point of willpower to beat him, essentially?
Yes.
I still got you backed up as well. I mean,
Because if you, and Zev will be coming in, but yeah, by spending a point of willpower, you're going to re-roll the 2 green and the 1 red.
2 green.
The only thing you can get is successes at this point, because even if you roll another brutal, that's good for you.
Yep. I will do
This
that.
is combat. Oh, look at that. Okay. So, you've got a total of 6 successes. Is that right? No, I'm sorry. 5 successes, Daya's 1. So that means you have a net success of 4. Plus, you did say you were attacking, so that's going to be an additional point for your bite. Is that right? Or is Crinus form more? I think it's just 1 aggravated.
Kronos.
Yeah, plus 1 aggravated. Yeah. So yeah, you're gonna do 5 points of aggravated damage, and that is in itself going to be enough to bring Ricard down.
oh, nice.
So why don't you explain to me how that happens?
So, yes, I'll chase him. I'll literally bound forward, grab hold, and bite. Aiming for the shoulder, like the nape of the neck. I think in the heat of the moment, as if natural, I tear.
Sure.
And it's just like tear, like it's natural. You take the bite, and you tear it. And I think that's just ends up what happening. As much as I think she wanted to stop him, don't think wanted to kill him so quickly, but it was just a natural response.
Yeah.
Of being, even though it's in Krynos, so it's like a wolf form, so it's like a stood up wolf, it was still a wolf biting down, blood, angry, so just rip the neck.
So as you clamp your jaws down on his clavicle and bear him to the ground and rip and pull your head back, you lacerate the upper part of his back all the way down through his shoulder and tear flesh down off of his chest as if you were peeling away, quite literally, the skin of a fruit. Doing that much damage, you notice a few things. First of all, what is in your mouth doesn't taste like skin and blood to you. It tastes
She's
like
choking
rot.
on it.
Right.
That's excellent.
It tastes like rotted vegetation. Not even like rotted animal matter, like rotting vegetation. And you can see that it's not blood, but just dust and ash as you rip this out from him. And Zev sees this in the moonlight, perhaps sees Lenexia bear him to the ground, and just a silhouette of her ripping and standing up, and just this explosion of detritus and plant matter as his chest is torn open.
No! Now we're never going to find out all that dialogue before, and I would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for those nasty kids!
But what Zev also sees is Lenexia as she kind of hunches again, not in defeat, but just from the full extension of ripping, she kind of brings herself back. And just as she is regaining her stance, I guess you can say, and looking around for more, there appears to be, the only way that Zev can describe it, even in your, you still have your full intelligence in your war form. So the best that you can describe it in or understand it in your mind is a soundless and invisible explosion of force that throws Lenexia a good 50 yards off of this now body that's lying in the dirt, almost not past you, but almost all the way back to where you are at the tree line.
She was thrown half a football field.
Yes, she was. And as she thuds into the grass and dirt almost at your feet at the edge of the tree line, what you can see in the moonlight, even with your enhanced senses in your war form, is a body down and not moving.
I am going to forget about everything and everybody else and rush towards her.
Okay. So as you rush towards her, are you going to spend a point of willpower to maintain Krynos form, or are you going to shift back into human
No,
form?
I will, because 150 yards in my human form will be longer than 150 yards.
Oh, she was thrown back towards you. She is actually relatively close to you now.
Okay. Yeah,
But
I'm
you
going
can
to go.
still...
No, I'm going to go back to human because I think I'll be able to more effectively treat her as a human.
Okay.
The thumbs and stuff, it helps.
So, you run over to her. Is Lenexia trying to maintain Krynos form? Well, actually, let me give you a little bit of a description before you make up your mind. So, you are thrown back. And while Zeev saw nothing, Lenexia did see something because her penumbral senses are still functioning.
Yes.
As you tore open Ricard's chest, this spirit that was almost too large for the form it was inhabiting bursts out of Ricard's chest and basically just stands in place. Grab a picture here. Phenomena.
Greatest song of all time.
And this black, seething form that has a bit of kind of bluish, sickly light emanating from its spine and its rib cage. You can almost see its skeletal structure underneath its inky black skin as it stands up, and it breathes in this kind of mist that, although you're many yards away now as you were thrown as this thing emerged, you feel like it would just be cold and frigid. But not in terms of temperature, just more in terms of the chill of regret and the icy cold of lost ambition as you're hurled by the force of it removing itself from Ricard's form, clawing itself free. It looks at you and says, "You can't stop my child from being born." And as you watch, perhaps as you are pulling yourself up, you see it extend its hand and cut a slash in the air, which opens up in kind of a purplish light emits from it. And you know that what it's doing is it's ripping a hole in the gauntlet, and it is escaping into the Umbra.
I'm going to quickly pull out my holy symbol.
Well, here's the
Present it
thing.
Forward.
Zeev can't see this.
Oh, I can't. Okay, too bad.
All you can perceive is the physical world. What Lenexia just saw is in the spirit realm, essentially. Or is of the spirit realm, which is why you can't see it.
Yeah, okay.
Don't dive in after it. Don't dive in after it.
So I guess that's a fair point. I should state that Zev does see something. So you see Lenexia looking just kind of because she's still in Krynos form, agape, as she's looking in the direction of the body. And you see this kind of haze of purplish light appear in the form of a tear kind of over Ricard Muller's body. And you know enough to know that that is likely something escaping into the Umbra, and that gate will close momentarily.
I'm almost not afraid that that's a bad thing. I mean, that's a tomorrow problem at this point.
No.
So I want to be clear. You don't have to follow it.
I can't follow it. She can.
You can. You can see the gate.
Oh, I can.
Yes. You can see where he's going to go. You just can't see it yet.
You just can't see it.
Okay. All right. Well, that's different.
Now,
I will put my hand out.
If you both go through the gate, once you're on the other side, you will be able to see and interact with anything in the spirit world because you will be in the spirit world. Likewise, Lenexia will still be able to perceive the physical world and still interact with things in the physical world, even though she is technically in the spirit world, because penumbral senses works in both directions.
Lenexia, we have to go. We have to finish this. We can't leave something like that with the power to kill flowers like that.
I think he can do more than that. I'll get him up. Now, I don't physically have the means, as in, like, I don't have the powers, but is there a common knowledge way to come back from the spirit realm?
That's a good question. So, I'm almost sad that you asked, but I will be fair that both of you will know this. You will have known enough to be aware of this. If you go through that portal and follow it, the only way, because the gate will seal itself, like the gauntlet will heal itself relatively quickly. But if you go through, once you're there, you are stuck there until you can find another way back. And neither of you have the skills necessary to do that. So you will have to find a spirit, most likely, that is willing to assist you. Now, are there spirits on the other side that are willing to assist Guru? Sure. Can I guarantee that there's one nearby? No. You will be taking your lives in your hands. And just to be clear, it is quite literally taking your lives in your hands, because every scene that you are in the Umbra, you have to spend a point of willpower to essentially survive the place. And if you run out of willpower while you're in the Umbra, you become trapped there permanently as a lost wolf. And there are stories of lost wolves that perhaps Lenexia has heard more of. Although Jake has a mentor, so you may have heard some basic stories about the horror that are wolves trapped on the other side.
Lenexia, my mentor told me never to cross over if it could all be helped. But I cannot help but feel that if I miss this opportunity to go in and solve it, what world will I be leaving here for Fenton and for Aaron and everybody else? We must go in. We must see this done. I'll go alone if you want to stay here.
I wouldn't leave you trapped alone.
Or we could wait until he manifests himself again. but how many more will die? And he's talking about, I didn't hear him talk about his child. I'll let you do the dialogue for that.
Oh, he's trying to bring a child into our realm, and I don't think it will rest. But we're gonna have to.
Maybe we have to find the child. Wouldn't that be where all those body parts and organs that were taken from the other people are?
I think so, but we don't know where that is.
Well,
you have some idea because you recall seeing a video of Ricard Muller putting a roughly body-shaped thing in the trunk of his car.
And that's good for me because it's inside technology. I'm really good with that kind of stuff.
So yeah, I think there are a couple of clear options here. Obviously, you can always do whatever you want, but you can follow it into the rift, or you can stay here and try to let it get away and try to find the child.
I think
our child is the biggest threat.
We need to.
And I have a spirit advisor I could ask about that over there. Maybe he has some connections, spirit mafia or something. Maybe somebody can go and take care of him.
Well, your mentor is not a spirit. Your mentor is another werewolf, Jake.
Yeah, okay, fair, but still better and more knowledgeable than I.
He is. Yes, that's true.
Literally anybody at this point is knowledgeable.
That is also true.
Yeah. That Mrs. What's her name passed out is probably more intelligent than I.
So
I don't know if she is, but Hannah might be, and Hannah just changed for the first time.
Yeah. Well, she can Hannah.
So what are you going to do? Got to make a decision. You can see that the rift is starting to heal itself.
Lenexia, send in GoPro.
No.
Oh, Crow actually refuses.
I'm just
No,
well, then that settles it. I'm not
form.
stupider than a crow.
I think getting the child. If he wants to bring the child, wants to raise his child up, bring his child, and
the problem is, it's not bringing the child or raising it. He's bringing it in for something stronger that it worships. He's worshiping something stronger and wants to bring the embodiment of that back in through this child, which is really just a vessel. And normally people doing that kind of stuff are doing it to bring in people that are greater threats than their own.
Yeah. I mean, if a part of him
of playing role playing has taught me anything, it's whatever they're summoning is far worse than what they are.
Well, if it's a part of him trying to bring it to the physical world, then that qualifies as a child, I guess. But I think that needs to be dealt with. We can't risk going into the spirit world, and even if we are successful, we don't know the outcome of what the child could be. We could be stuck there.
Yeah.
The child.
And honestly,
you do
I don't
also
trust.
know that. You do also know that one of your pack knows how to open the ways, so they could potentially come after you if we were talking about future stories. But so again, I don't want to. You guys do what you want.
I don't trust Fenton and Aaron to know where to find the body and then to bury the right parts in the right graves, with the right people. I think that's something we got to take care of.
Okay. So, as you're discussing, the rift seals itself.
No, I changed my mind. I want to go through.
Too late. And this thing, for now, has escaped. But you feel like it's going to be very intent upon its child, whatever that means.
Yeah. I mean,
so
it hit hard, to be honest, and it being in its own realm, I don't know if that would actually give it more power. So,
well, one thing that you do know is that sometimes the the gifts that a Bane has when it's inhabiting something is not necessarily what that Bane is capable of.
Oh.
That is the gifts that it has given to the vessel. So it was imbuing Ricard with those abilities for a reason, probably to, make way for its child. But it might be capable of more and different, right? It's not necessarily the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just what it was doing for Ricard.
Right.
Okay.
So, what do you want to do then?
Let's get the kid.
Yeah. I think Fenton and Aaron are going to take care of Mrs. Peabody, so that's fine for now, and we'll have to find the kid
Okay, how are you going to do that?
by car, of course.
No, but I mean, how are you going to find
Oh,
the child?
Yeah, because it's at this point we're assuming. Well, he was.
So the last thing you know is that a roughly body-shaped bundle was put into Ricard Muller's trunk of his car.
He was heading
And we
back
know-
towards his house.
well, either the house or maybe the enclave that he's the Waco, Texas farm that he has all the people at.
So
The direction that he was
That's-
running towards.
that's an interesting idea, but what I will say is, we can move forward a little bit. I don't know. Are you guys going to return to the safe house to kind of discuss next steps?
Yeah, sure.
So you head back and make sure Birgit's all right. I don't know, Jake, do you want to leave a message or anything for her? Because Aaron has taken her inside, laid her on
Well,
her
I
couch.
assume they would, Fenton and Aaron would, I'm assuming, take care of that. I would trust them.
Okay. So then the three of you get into Zav's car and head back to the safe house. Aaron and Fenton seem intent on preparation for dealing with the compound in the mountains.
Right. But you said the three of
So-
us. Is Pro coming in my car, really?
No, Aaron is still there. Like, Aaron is still at Birgit's house when you return.
Yes. Oh, okay, I see. But Fenton joined us in the car.
Oh,
No,
Fenton's-
Aaron.
And
Oh, Aaron.
Fenton was still at the safe house.
Oh, okay. Right. Oh, okay. Perfect.
And so he seems a little concerned when you all show up because he heard the howl, but you give him kind of the rundown of what happened. And as I said, Aaron and Fenton get really focused on the compound. You talk to, it was an interesting idea you had, Jake, but you speak to Aaron, who was in the compound, and Pro, who flew around the compound. And neither of them, actually, they're both fairly certain that they did not see Ricard Muller's vehicle there. So maybe the two are not connected. Yeah, so you have some options. You can, although the video of his vehicle was destroyed, there are things I think probably Zev could do with a computer to find things like registration, vehicle registration, things like that, to try and get more information about the vehicle.
Well, I mean,
There's-
if the car was found on the site, it could be impounded by the police, and they may not have been intelligent enough to open the trunk.
Oh no, he drove away. He
Right.
was not, like, his vehicle was not at the site
Okay.
when you guys first found it. Like, he left that site after the ritual. My concern is, how are you going to find the vehicle and or what he did with it? And so
Well, I
That's
think
kind
that
of-
number one, if I can CSI it up a bit, what I would
Yeah.
probably do is find out exactly the vehicle registration, and then try to find either a database with with the local traffic cameras, and see if the car is driven by any of those cameras and when, if there's a database, or if he has a cell phone, try to find out
Sure.
where the cell phone was in the last.
Well, and you
24
can
hours.
also potentially narrow down your search, because he was at Van Gelder's house, so unless he's just walking around town,
Yeah, it could
his
be.
vehicle might be
yeah.
nearby there.
Yeah, I'm assuming you would have
so
told us if we found the vehicle around the house while we were traveling.
it wasn't within visual distance, unless you
Okay.
wanted to do like a search pattern of the neighborhood.
Well, I mean, he came from the back where the forest is, so I
Right.
probably would have checked, like, what, where is the next logical place to,
Okay.
so it's on public road or something where he could have.
So, very good. Is that just to make it easy so that we don't have to keep worrying
And
about
Crow Pro
what-
could help me by going up and,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
looking.
But just to make it easy so we don't have to keep kind of talking about necessarily what the other characters are doing who aren't present. You go back to the safe house.
Oh, they're getting
Drop.
drunk now with friends. It's Friday night.
Right. You drop Aaron off, and like I said, Aaron and Fenton are very intent on the compound. They're looking at surveillance technology, drones, and things like that on the internet, with the possibility of thinking of like putting together some things to potentially help you get more information. And there's that whole thing. You do also note when you get back to the safe house that you have a message from your mentor. And he says, hey, just wanted to check to see how you were all doing. I've heard some interesting things are going on down there from some friends. If you have any questions, feel free to give me a call. I'm always available. So there's that. And then I figure after you drop off Aaron, you guys go back out and maybe kind of troll around and look for his vehicle. So given that you...
Very good at trolling around online all day long.
Sure, right. I mean, you basically went straight to it, which is fine. Like, it wasn't intended to be super difficult. He came in through the woodlands. The woodlands are a park. You drive, and there is his vehicle at the parking lot of that park. It's one of 3 vehicles remaining in the parking lot. One of the vehicles has blacked out windows. Maybe it's somebody who's doing stealth camping. That's not unheard of. It's like a small kind of van. You think maybe you hear somebody moving around inside there, but you don't really get a sense of anything dangerous. And that vehicle is nowhere near Ricard's car.
The shocks might be a little worn because we hear squeak, 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 squeak.
No, it's not quite like that, but an interesting thought. And then the other vehicle that's there is, just looks like a pickup that maybe somebody parked there, and maybe they went off with a friend to a bar and they're going to come get their vehicle later. Who knows, right? So, but definitely you see Ricard's car there. And I'll tell that you both, since you are werewolves, and even in human form, you have somewhat enhanced senses.
We smell something really bad coming from the trunk, don't we?
You do. It's
All right.
awful.
That's it. We're going back to the safe house. Let's pretend we never found this thing. I guess the next thing would be to hotwire this car and to drive it somewhere where we can actually open the trunk and deal with these remains.
Okay. Sure.
Lenexia, what do you think, though? I mean, I just don't want to open the trunk now here in the middle of, Mr. Squeaky Van, and we never know when truck driver's going to come back from his hike.
Let's take it back somewhere.
Bet you he has shag carpets and those things.
So where are you going to go with it? You going to go back to the safe house? You going to go to another kind of undisclosed location? What do you want to do?
Is there any danger if we take it back to the safe house that, what could the connection be between
So that's
the
a fair
spirit
question.
of Ricardo and this homunculus?
Well, to be clear, first of all, that thing that Lenexia saw is not the spirit of Ricard.
It
is something else. It's a bane. It was inhabiting Ricard, but it would be a mistake to think that that was like his ghost, because that is not what it is. It's not to say that ghosts don't exist in this world, but that's not what it was at all. That being said, though, that is a very good question. If this is its child, whatever that means, it's likely that that spirit, that bane, has a connection to it. So it might not be a good idea to take it back to the safe house, because that could potentially lead the bane directly to your safest place.
And at this point, for all intents and purposes, Ricardo is dead, correct?
Yeah, I mean, unless you did something with it, his body is still laying in the park, torn open by an animal.
Alexia, I think we just approach the car where it is. Let the police find it. They'll put the body parts together with Ricardo.
Excuse me.
Nothing to do with us. I mean, could he do anything with charred body parts and make this, child come alive? Like, is it enough to burn it? Do I have to burn it and scatter it? Do I have to burn it in different pits and different locations? I mean, that sounds like an awful lot of burning of body parts to do. And
I don't think. If we could get back to the site, I would think that, well, actually, no, was it? The police would have moved all the bodies by now.
But yeah, I mean,
the bodies, yes, but the site is still there. They can't move that.
Talking about returning each body part to the proper place, that's also a lot of digging, and it's probably still
it would have been
like
it's proper burial.
Again, as players, I can't expect you all to understand necessarily the esoteric aspects of how this world works. So, but Lenexia was actually close. So Lenexia, why don't you give me a wits and occult or similar? Do you have occult?
Oh, I do actually. Yeah, there is.
Yeah, I thought you did.
So wits and occult is 4.
Okay.
That is so cool-ish.
No, that's good.
Two
2
successes.
successes is enough. So you feel like there's some sense there in terms of returning to the site. If this ritual was being used to create something, then the locus where it was created is going to be a good place for it to be wholly unmade, as it were. Trying to unmake it elsewhere might not be successful, particularly if it's infused with spirit, which you can assume that this is.
Yeah, because I can't remember if Benton specifically told us, but he saw a spirit at the site.
He did, yes.
Yeah, I can't remember if he actually told us.
Well,
I believe he did, yes.
Was that described as the same one we saw, or was it?
Oh no, it was a different spirit. So it was
It was more.
he would have described it, and I described it to him as the spirit of the place.
Yeah. It was a
So
specific one.
it's a more natural spirit. You're assuming it would be a spirit of the wild. It wouldn't make sense for it to be a spirit of the weaver, which would be, man's works and technology. And he didn't seem to indicate that it had the sense of a bane, so it's not a spirit of the worm. So it's probably just the spirit of the place.
Okay.
Interesting, but wouldn't you be afraid that if we do bring it back there, we could, if we're not careful, be facilitating the completion of the ritual?
I mean,
Possibility.
if the bodies are moved, I imagine the ritual is done. I mean, I know the parts are here, but it wasn't completed the way Ricardo did the ritual, so something was missing, something wasn't there, so...
Well, if we take it back there, what if, Ricardo, this could be an elaborate trap to get us to do it. But I mean, I trust you. If you say take it there, look, this is my car. I'll drive my car to the park. You could drive the Stinkmobile, and I'm okay with that. Just keep the windows open. Downwind. I'll drive in front. I'm not driving behind that thing. That's
right. As far as the ritual being completed, you know that one of the bodies was not present. And that particular body, Hannah, she seemed to have all of her parts.
Yeah, somebody was missing.
So the spirit did say, you can't stop my child from being born. Not that you can't. That indicates to you that the ritual may not be complete.
It says we cannot stop. So if we can't stop it,
Wait.
it means it's going to be born regardless. But if we can't stop it, who can? Maybe we have to get somebody else who can stop it. I mean, unless he's just being, braggy. And
you feel like he was kind of like doing the villain thing. Like, I'm going to be successful. You can't stop me.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Now. Ooh, okay, so it could be. So yeah, I think we need to take this back to where it was made, disperse the parts back into where they should be.
That's a much better idea than burning this vehicle. I regret even having thought of it.
I wonder if we need to check on Hannah.
You gave her your phone number, didn't you?
Yeah, but I don't have her contacts.
Yeah, maybe we call her.
Because I think I wrote it down.
You gave her your number. She would have given you hers.
Okay. Because it's just the realization of as you said, that one of the bodies didn't die, and this child can't stop my child from being born, kind of thing.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, I think the thing would need to go. So yeah, I'm happy to drive the car. Actually, it's only been like a day since the police arrived, hasn't it?
Yeah. It's possible they're still there, but unlikely at this point. It's the evening.
and maybe we don't need to
They've
cross
done
the
their
police tape if
investigation.
they're still there. If they're still there, we'll stay on the other side while we, handle dead body parts.
So if
We won't interrupt what they're doing. They won't interrupt what we're doing.
so, yeah. Well, I mean, you'll have to show me how to hotwire a car.
Oh yeah, sure.
But he
That's
can
really
hotwire it
easy.
for you.
But I'm happy to teach you as well.
Here's the bigger problem, though. You're not just going to drive both of your vehicles up to, park at the security station, are you?
No, I was literally going to say...
With all the
Well,
cameras.
I know the back roads because I've done that before.
That's true. But the back roads will only get you so far. You won't be able to get that car all the way to the site through the back roads. You'll have to unload the trunk and carry it in.
That's fine. We'll be out of the cabras, and Lenexia can drag the body parts. I mean, she's strong.
But okay. I do like, Zev, if you're gonna drive up front, you need to check if the coast is clear. I'll keep a distance behind, but just let me know.
I'll definitely check if the coast is clear, and with your abilities, you'll make sure the ghost is clear.
We'll see about that.
Well, that scene's over, so if you want to activate that ability, you'll have to do so again.
Yeah.
But moving ahead then, you hotwire the vehicle with Zev overseeing you. And is making sure that I understand, you are driving Zev's vehicle as well, right? So you're going to take both vehicles and leave Ricard's there?
Yeah, I don't want my DNA inside the other vehicle. Don't tell Alexia that I said that, but...
Sure. She might not be aware that that's a thing to be concerned about, which is fair.
Yeah, exactly.
But you also both know that somebody in your pack can kind of deal with that if it comes to it, so... So yeah, you drive the back roads, and you get to a point that you feel like Zev is about as close as you can get to the site as possible without actually going through the security station.
Yeah, Lenexia, this is going to be it. It's safest for the technology that we leave it here now. We don't proceed further with the technology.
Okay. At this point, I think I'll have put the car into the back, check nobody can see, and at this point I will open the trunk.
Okay, so when you open the trunk, the waves, and maybe you've gone a little bit nose blind to it on the drive, because the stench is awful. But when you open the trunk, you see lying before you a thing that, if I'm quite honest, if we were playing Call of Cthulhu, you'd have to make a sanity check. So this, it looks like a man-sized fetus. Its head is more shaped out of meat than it is an actual head, because no one's head was missing from the ritual. But and it's laying in the trunk, it's not covered or anything. It's been unwrapped. You almost feel like Ricard maybe was opening the trunk and looking upon it once it was ensconced in place. But its head seems to be made of meat that's in skin and flesh that's just stitched together. You definitely get the sense of canine parts and meat as well as human. It has 3 limbs, 2 arms and 1 leg. It is missing a leg. And those limbs, while beginning to rot and decay, possibly at a very high rate of decay, because again, the ritual was only 2 days ago. But you can tell that the limbs are from the ritual victims. And let me just throw a picture in here for everyone's edification. We will just refer to it as the meat child.
Wow. Oh. Yeah. Okay.
Totally not a pleasure to meet you.
And just for clarification, it's not breathing or anything.
It does not appear to be, no.
Okay.
It does not appear to be breathing.
The eyes look very alive.
That's
Well,
So-
Alexia, it looks like it has a leg to stand on.
Crow lands on the edge of the trunk and kind of looks at it. He's like, that'd be a nice suit for somebody, I guess.
Yeah, somebody who needs one, which we don't want to have one.
no that.
Oh, sorry, I don't speak Crow.
No, we need to destroy it. I say I'll
Yeah,
ask Crow. That, can you go check out the site? Make sure the police have gone for us.
Ah, good. So Crow flies over the site and comes back and informs you that there's some yellow like banners wrapped around some of the trees and all the way around the place, but there's no people.
Right, cool. Thank you. Okay, so it's all clear. I mean, there's tape, but it's all clear. We can take it up there.
And there is a tarp, right? So you'll be able to kind of wrap it up and transport it that way. You don't have to physically touch it if you don't want to.
Yeah, no.
Although you're still not going to be able to get that smell out of your clothes probably for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll wrap it up and try and hoof it and lift it.
You're going to carry it? Zev, are you going to help?
I mean, she looks fine the way she's handling it all on her own.
And you're certainly capable.
I'm gonna, scout out and check around for, tracks or anything else I have to watch out and stuff. I'm gonna make sure I have a big club in my hand because I want both my hands to be holding something, so Lenexia knows I'm there protecting.
I'm sorry, my hands are full. I don't know what to tell you. So you're capable of picking it up. It seems lighter than it looks.
It must
because,
be
again,
alive
like I
then,
said,
because it's not dead weight.
Right. Because it is, roughly man-sized. You don't have a tape measure. I don't know, unless Zev has one and pulled it out. But you're guessing it's probably at least 5'9", 5'10", from top of its meat pate to the bottom of its 1 foot. And as you lift it up, it is kind of... It's solid, but it has kind of a fluid feel to it, and the tarp is definitely kind of moist and leaky.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as you head towards the site, Zev, you don't need to do anything. You're able to travel towards the site quite easily. But Lenexia, I'm going to need you to make a dexterity and athletics test for me.
Okay.
And I'm going to take away 3 dice from you.
Okay.
Do you have any dice left?
I have 1.
Then roll the single die. You do get to roll a rage die, which may help you, because this is a physical task. Oh, no, it won't, because you have to roll 2 brutals for it to count. So
Yeah. So do I...
go ahead and make a roll.
What color do I do it as?
Oh, still roll a red die.
Okay.
Because I assume you have more than 1 rage.
Yeah.
Okay, so you get a single success. You're able to make it, but Zev, you maybe notice, and I don't know if this will change your pace, but you notice that Lenexia seems to be having a hard time moving into the woods towards the site. Lenexia, you take 1 step, and what you were certain was solid ground, your foot suddenly just sinks into like a muddy quagmire. And then you're able to pull that out, and you take another step, and you almost trip over a branch that you were certain wasn't there a moment before.
Uh-oh.
And every step you take, it seems to be that the forest is fighting against you to prevent you from progressing towards the site.
I'll rush forward to help.
But you're able to.
Yeah, I think somebody's trying to send us a message from the looks of it. Maybe we should have stayed on the beaten path. It might have been more difficult for this vegetation to be controlled.
I mean,
how much further is it, do you think, until we get there? We could unload this burden.
It takes you about, from where you were able to park, especially with Linexia's hampered progress, it takes you about a half an hour to finally get to the edge of the site. And again, the storm is still raging. In fact, the ground and everything around you is so wet, you feel like it hasn't stopped for days. Although you know that in other places in Manitou Springs, it's not raining. As you step into the site, there's an overwhelming smell of green and fresh grass and flowers. And as lightning strikes a nearby tree, close enough to where you can feel the buzz of electricity through your bodies, you get the sense that something is not happy.
yeah. I mean, I think that spirit, I think, is watching us and keeping an eye.
Well, you have a way to know for sure.
Yeah. I think I will probably, once I will, wait, actually, what do I need for it? A number. A willpower. What happens if you run out of willpower in the normal world?
You're just kind of exhausted.
Okay.
I mean, technically, are you about to?
I've got 2 left.
If you activated it? Okay. So if you drop to 0, you lose consciousness.
Okay.
Like, from exhaustion.
Okay. I'll have 1 left. It'll be fine.
Okay. All right. Unless something does willpower damage to you.
I'm sure that wouldn't happen, would it?
Nah. Wouldn't happen. So
Intelligence.
you're going to activate that. While you're doing that, Jake, I want you to make a wits awareness test for me, assuming that you're kind of looking around and, you know, being alert as you enter the clearing.
Yeah.
Or perhaps if investigate is better for you.
6 successes.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So we'll get to that in a second. That was to activate your penumbral senses for the scene?
Yeah.
Nice. You didn't need that many. The gauntlet is very thin here. Okay. So I'll go with Jake first. Jake, as you step into the clearing, you can tell that the police were definitely like kind of rooting around and, you know, doing what they need to do to investigate a crime scene in the middle of the woods. Like they're moving piles of detritus around, looking underneath fallen leaves and branches. And one thing that you see is there are a lot of very similarly shaped rocks kind of scattered around. And not just scattered, the more you look at it, it becomes relatively obvious to you that while the police may have been pulling back a lot of the vegetation, they uncovered these rocks, but maybe they didn't put 2 and 2 together. But the rocks that you can see form a series of concentric circles, not a spiral, but a series of concentric circles. And as you take a closer look at one of these rocks, you realize that it's not just rock. It's not, in fact, sedimentary rock. It appears to be crystalline of some kind, possibly quartz, this indicates to you that this used to be, at some point, based on what you've been told by your mentor, some kind of ritual site, and not one tied to the worm necessarily.
Or to the Olympics.
Right. And in the center, a large rock was uncovered, kind of in the same place where the fire had been made by Ricard. There is a large rock, almost like an altar now, that has been uncovered. And again, to anybody not thinking about it, it just looks like a rock in the middle of the clearing. But it very clearly to you stands out as some kind of an altar. And again, not constructed, but made of the same material as all the other rocks that are kind of spread around. You think this may have been a cairn at one point. And in fact, as you begin to think that, you can actually feel it.
Oh.
Something has lit the spark in what maybe was a dormant cairn. Maybe it was the ritual.
Maybe what it wants to revise Lenexia is actually buried in here. Now,
so Lenexia, when you activate your penumbral senses, again, you get the double vision effect that occurs.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you were what you were expecting when you activated your senses, but what you see is not anything necessarily bad. Again, you see above you, the large coiling form of what appears to be a spirit that is serpentine, possibly dragon-like, if you want to use that terminology. And it notices you notice it. And it turns to face you, and its head kind of uncoils and comes down right in front of you. This thing is huge. That doesn't necessarily represent power in the spirit world, but it can. And it looks not first at you, but first it looks at the bundle you carry.
Yeah.
And then it looks at you and says, "Why did you bring that back?"
We're gonna take it apart. Like, it was made here. It can be taken apart here. We want to put the pieces back to where they were supposed to be buried.
So as you're speaking to this thing in front of you, you hear another voice in your ear. And if you turn and look, it's another head of the same being.
Oh, okay. Can Zev hear me speak? Reply to it.
He can hear you speaking, yes.
Yeah, just not the other side.
Okay.
Right. And he can see like any movements you take. And he if you turn and look at it, it says, "You're not going to complete it."
No. It was
You're
made
not with the other one.
No. We terminated his physical body for now. He's back in the Umbra. We want to destroy this abomination, this vessel, to at least stem his wish for a child.
So upon saying that, the form that's speaking to you seems to collapse in on itself. And the two heads, and then you notice a third head on the other side of you, and you see 6 more heads combined together. And this whole form just kind of condenses into a green, luminous form roughly the size of a man. And Jake, Zev can actually see this happening as well. On the central dais, this kind of bright green luminance begins to condense and take on the form of a person.
You see, I told you we shouldn't have brought it here. This is only trouble. It's going to complete the ritual. We have to stop this.
No,
And
this one's different.
well, hang on. On saying that, hearing Zev say that, a voice comes out of the bright, luminant shape that says, "I will do no such thing."
What?
And the light dims, and there is a man standing in front of you. An kind of average, nondescript looking man, wearing, what you would expect a hiker or an outdoorsman to wear. Flannel, jeans, boots. And he steps down off the
exactly like I
dais.
imagined the second coming of Brian to be.
He steps down off of the dais and walks towards you. And he says, "She said that you want to destroy it."
Can it be done? We
It
want to
must be
destroy
done
it.
if you want to remove the taint from this place.
Yeah, but what about the thing that was creating this? He referred to it as his child. What's going to stop him from creating another child? I mean, look how
Well-
many people he killed to create this one. If we destroy it, does that mean this all goes to start all over again? And he's going to kill more to make more body parts? Like, it sounds like we're just solving this issue. Like, how do we stop it for good?
Now that I'm awake, he'd have a very difficult time trying the same thing here, because I would resist him.
Who are you?
You're awake.
Wake. What
I'm this place. This is my grove.
are you a druid of Shannara?
What? What did you say? I missed it.
Are you a druid of Shannara?
Oh, no. I am Hydra.
I was never into Transformers. So why did you go to sleep in the first place then if you were able to stop this, if you were only awake? And what happens when you sleep next?
The pack that once held this territory, they fell. And in the process, hurt me. And I had to recover. But there was a surge of energy, of power, a few days ago that woke me up.
It was the attempt for this thing.
What year is it? That's how you measure time in this
Yes.
world, is it not?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is current day, so 24.
Yeah, it's 2024.
Oh, okay. Oh my god, where have I been the past 21 years?
I've been asleep for 5 years.
You look great.
He kind of smiles and says, thank you.
So, if we disperse this here, we bury the parts in the holes they came from. I know the rest of the body is not there, but
No. You have to burn it to dust and remove the ash from this place. Nothing of it can remain.
okay.
Oh. where are we going to be able to build a fire that's hot enough to burn bone?
In this way,
To
I mean,
ash.
I don't know. I mean,
I can help you.
we can get started.
What shall we call you? What's your name?
Hydra.
Oh, I thought you were a Hydra. I didn't know that was also your name.
I am Hydra.
I see.
So it's a yes to both their questions. Okay.
Okay.
It's difficult manifesting still, but I could tell, and he nods at Zev, you could not see me.
No, don't, Hydra, how you doing? But don't exert yourself for me. I trust Lenexia, and I understood she was talking to something when she appeared to be talking to herself. And yes, she is crazy, but I knew at that point this wasn't a manifestation of that.
You are a pack of two?
We're a group of
2 or more.
4 at the minute.
2 or more. 2+. Variable.
There are a few of us in residence, and there's at least one that's a fresh kin that's still that's so fresh, does not have guidance. We have not been able to give them the time that they
And
probably
you've come.
need.
We are the 2 that are currently sober.
Fair. You've come to take this place to protect it.
We want to protect everything from the thing that would create something like this. I mean, this is just part of a greater world, a greater ecosystem. I mean, Hydra, if you're here to protect this grove, that is certainly a noble task, but there's much more beyond this place.
Yes, but have your kin not explained? You're a pack, you must have a cairn. And a cairn must have a pack.
I mean, that's possibly why we were sent here. We don't have a cairn.
You were
Well-
sent to retake territory.
Before this point in time, we hadn't a cairn in the world, but I think we do now.
A cairn in the world. Very nice wordplay, sir. Very nice.
So
And that's a wrap. So, guys, see you tomorrow.
So this is where this is the cairn.
This is
we'll just get rid of this abomination and this attempt, and we can rebuild the cairn, and maybe this is like looking at towards Zev, and it's like maybe Hannah would be interested in this. Not this right now, but this is in the cairn.
Well, yeah, she's been exposed to something traumatic. So maybe she will have a deeper knowledge or understanding after this and be able to care for this place properly. I mean, it's part of a society now, so that means government won't put their hands on it, private industry won't put their hands on it, and we could, dedicate ourselves to protecting it now. We won't have to look for other places to run away from, places where we could be discovered. The Veil will protect ourselves here because this cairn will be associated with us. Or am I just creating new lore for this world?
No, you're right, but you also know from what little you've learned thus far that while all of those things are true, a pack with a cairn also takes on the responsibility of protecting it. Because a cairn is a place of power. And even cairns that have spirits, like Hydra, Hydra is this place. It can't leave, and it is vulnerable to attack. especially now if it's been reawoken and was dormant. It maybe was kind of under the radar for a while, but it's quite possible that its awakening has alerted interested parties in the area.
Oh, that might explain the others. Oh, maybe we could become the new horticultural club.
Well, you know somebody who might be able to help you set that up.
Yeah. 100%.
I'm sure
she's already been a part of it anyways.
Yeah, I'm sure she'll forget.
Well,
what
she was.
Even if she doesn't, we'll be able to coax her through it. It'll be part of the healing, and we can also watch over her to make sure that she doesn't give everything away. And she may even be a good go-between between our world and her world.
Yeah.
Possibly. So
this could be my life's work. Not hiding from everything around, but making sure we have advocates.
Trying to find a bridge.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So Hydra,
to make this the grand finale now. I'm just opening up a whole new.
Right. So Hydra explains to you how this must be done, and there are some things that you need to gather to be able to do it correctly. You can't just light a bonfire and let this thing burn, because then it will be in the ground. And he assures you that he would be tainted by such an act.
Okay.
So instead, what you need is a kiln
We
to
do
feed
have
this thing into that can contain it as it
do have
burns.
metal, like garbage containers from the Ranger.
Yeah, that could work.
They must be able to be, they must burn their trash and stuff. They don't cart it out of here. So if we can do something inside metal,
Yeah.
probably drill some
you could-
holes on both sides so you get some air in and combustible materials and stuff, and
Do you think it'll
Right.
get
do
hot
a little
enough?
magic.
Think it'll get hot enough?
We'll know when
so-
we see the whole container glowing red.
When you ask that, Hydra says, I will take care of that.
Okay. So we don't need to burn the body here.
Oh no, you still need to burn it here.
Okay, it just needs to be in something.
You just need to make sure it's in something so that it doesn't taint the surroundings.
Lenexia, you certainly are strong enough to carry or pull those garbage containers up the hill to this place, I'm sure.
Well, it doesn't even have to be those. Like you could take a relatively short amount of time to go get some materials, right, and kind of kit bash together a kiln. You don't have to use the stuff from that place if you don't want to risk discovery, because technically that company, why did I just forget the name of the company?
Acme?
No, it's not Acme. I'll remember it at some point. But technically, that company still owns this land. And in fact, as you're discussing it openly, I'm assuming, in front of Hydra, because he's kind of assisting you with what you need to do, he looks in the direction, and you may not have even mentioned where it is, but you know for a fact that he looks directly in the direction of where the building would be, and says, I sensed that the Weaver was encroaching on my place. Which makes sense. It's, human construction. That's how he would perceive it.
Okay. I don't really know. Haven't really found out what they're doing there, but there's some people holed up in a building.
Well, maybe at some point you will need to, should this game ever continue.
Yes. Yeah.
So are you both gonna kind of head out and go get the things that you need to make this makeshift kiln? Yeah.
Home Depot, somewhere around.
Let's go take the bonnet off a car and just cook it on that, you know?
Absolutely not.
Again, it's gotta be enclosed. Oh, I see. Trying to get Jake to break his ban.
No, I will use all my
session.
willpower against you, my evil eye.
So yeah, I mean, it takes some time, and Hydra assures you that he is strong enough for the moment to, with the residual energy from the ritual, to fend off anything that might come along looking for the child.
Okay. Yeah. We'll
At least in the spirit world. But yeah, you head back to town, you grab some things to create a kiln that is contained, that is not going to disperse the ashes. Even to the point of like getting something to where there's going to have to be an air intake, but Hydra indicated that not even the smoke should be allowed free. So you find some kind of containment measure for that. We're just going to say that it's possible, right?
Yeah,
so
filter of some sort.
Yeah, something. So with Hydra's suggestions and with Zaev's knowledge of modern technology, you're able to get a bunch of stuff relatively cheap within your budget to bring back and kind of put together this kiln, which Hydra instructs you to place on the altar on the dais. And once it's in place, he encourages you to step back. And he releases a gout in the spirit world, releases a gout of flame from each of his 9 heads, arrayed in kind of a perfect 9-point surrounding around this kiln. And at this point, he's acting in the spirit world, so Zaev can't see it. But you do see, without any wood or fire, the kiln begin to glow. And that glow intensifies. It starts as kind of a dull orange, and then it becomes a bright yellow, and then it starts to become bluish and white, kind of beyond what you would normally think. And then after a time, it does take a while because it got very, very hot. The whole thing begins to cool, and basically it is now just entirely like welded shut because of the severe heat. And Hydra assures you that the remains inside have been completely destroyed. But you're going to have to take the kiln someplace else to dispose of it.
Well, because it contains the ashes? Like, we have to get the ashes away from here.
Well, the kiln is welded shut so that nothing could get out.
Right. So the question is, do we have a rival pact's territory that we could bury it there?
Well, I mean, you don't have a rival pack yet.
Okay.
But there is a question of whether or not even the ashes contain some power. So Hydra encourages you not to dispose of it willy-nilly, as it were. He doesn't say willy-nilly, but you know what I mean.
So maybe we should keep it safe until we can find the best place to get rid of it, or we disperse it somehow that the ashes aren't together. Like,
well, that's it. He doesn't want it here, and he sealed it, so he doesn't want them released either.
to take it to tip or dispose
the
of
question
the
is,
ashes.
I would think that the ashes are more dangerous together than... So either A, he sealed it so that we're not disposing any of the ashes here, until we get to someplace really safe or really far away, like not upwind but downwind, and then let the ashes disperse. Or this stuff is so potent and so, dangerous that even spreading the ashes somewhere else will corrupt the other area and allow for some sort of, evil powers to manifest itself.
Jake, why don't you make an intelligence and
I can think of many reasons.
either science or technology roll for me, whichever one is better for you.
Okay. All right.
Maybe the mentor would have a better idea.
I think Zev might have a good idea. I just want to have him roll for it.
Yeah, that's fine. I have it's the same in both, so yay! I can roll a green die. Screwed you over now, didn't I?
Okay. I'm not going to give you the hint.
Mm-hmm.
So, but Hydra seems not like he intentionally welded the thing closed.
Right.
So dispersal might not be the best idea. So your challenge is trying to figure out how can you dispose of the kiln, which is now basically just a big urn. How can you dispose of it in a way that it cannot be accessed by anyone else, or at least not easily?
I think the National Library of Congress in Washington archives.
You mean the Smithsonian archives?
Oh, okay, well. No, I mean, so I'm thinking either water, but even water, I mean, eventually this box will corrode.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
But the same thing with burying, because the moisture will also cause it to corrode eventually.
I'm going to tell you because, I don't know, I guess people don't think about things like I do.
Well,
So,
we'll have to
Jake-
keep it in the fridge.
No.
Put it in a plastic cooler and drop it in the ocean where it's waterproof.
I'm gonna give Jake a spot of inspiration. Zev has a spot of inspiration, just out of nowhere, even after thinking really hard and just not coming up with anything.
That's not true. I came up with a lot of stuff.
No, but on this particular topic.
Oh, okay.
Zev remembers there is a new gymnasium going up in the high school, and they're pouring the foundations next week.
Let's hide a body in the concrete.
Encase it in concrete. That's smart. How
Yeah, never would have thought
and
that.
the veil will protect them from knowing that they're pouring the concrete over this, hermetically sealed kiln. I like it. All we have to do is find a concrete truck big enough to hide this thing in, with a spout big enough to come out with concrete into the hole when it dumps it in.
Well, I mean, concrete takes a while to set. You could just wait until they pour it and then put it in it.
Or what he
Like
said, yes.
that night.
100%. Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
It's not an instant set kind of deal. So,
Mhm. But of course, they will wonder why the concrete raised 3 millimeters.
yeah, they might not notice.
Just gotta
Or,
be good.
you can
Or you can scoop out some of the concrete.
you
so
could
that it's
you could
exactly
potentially scoop out some and then level it, right? There's ways you can do it.
We could be professional.
Or you could bribe the crew
level. Okay.
to do it.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe
But no, I
not.
don't want to build that reputation, really.
Maybe.
Or
It's
since
not
this is our
something
last session, you could bribe the crew to do it. But then, since you don't want to have that kind of hanging loophole,
Kill them.
you
when
could
it's
then
done.
later kill them
Like
and
Pharaoh.
eat the bodies because you are a monster.
Snakes.
Or you could just find a cave very deep in a mountain and drop it down there and maybe fill the cave in or
Yeah.
Hopefully
I
that's-
like
blast
the
it.
concrete.
You know,
I think
take it to a quarry, blast it closed.
Yeah, I
you know,
think
that kind of thing.
the concrete is going to be the easiest option. It's close to, and it's something we could, we're planning on staying. It's something that we could keep our eye on.
You can monitor in
Yeah.
case there are any weird things that happen now in the school gymnasium.
Especially
Yeah.
because Zev works at the school.
Yeah,
So that's why Zev can't actually be involved with the dunking and concrete.
Yeah, that's true.
sure, right.
But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So we'll get that. Yeah, we'll get rid of it.
That's fine.
Before we leave, though, I would like to put the stones where they should be.
I mean, they're rooted.
Oh.
They are where they should be. Yeah, they're not just loose stones.
Oh, sorry. I thought we were saying they were like the moving stones. I thought you meant the actual proper stones.
No, they were removing all the fallen greenery and uncovered the stones, I guess would be a better way to
Okay.
put that.
Yeah. So I think that's the best idea for the ashes, is to bury them in concrete and keep an eye on them.
So the process of getting everything ready and preparing the kiln and Hydra, burning the kiln and then letting it cool, pretty much takes up the rest of the night. And as the kiln is cool enough to be moved and you begin to take it from the grove, Hydra manifests again and looks at you both with what can only be described as desperation in his face. And he says, You won't leave me here alone, will you?
No.
What do you mean by leave you here alone?
Every cairn needs a pack.
But
Every pack needs a cairn.
Yes, but I mean, we're not going to leave the area. Do you actually want us to live here and have somebody here 24/7?
No,
or
but
just
you'll
care for you?
come if I
We will.
need you.
Yeah.
Yes?
We will come before you need us. Is there a way that you can reach us if you need us, though, and we're not around?
We can. You can, if you wanted, we could make a pact.
I could perform a ritual, and maybe that will help us stay in touch when you need us. But we'll come back often, and if we come back, will you be able to manifest yourself without it being too taxing on your powers that are needed to protect this place?
It would be easier if we are pacted, yes.
I think we should do it'll be very impactful for me to do so.
Yes.
So yeah, he suggests that you gather the rest of your pack to do so, which may or may not include Hannah, as you decide. But for now, that's talk of the future. And for now, as you take the kiln and leave the grove, although it won't do this on screen because it's just kind of set up that way. Oh, well, maybe I could do it. Hang on, let me do this real quick.
That song is stuck in your head today.
Yeah, it is. As you pick up the kiln and leave the grove with the promise of returning to form an official bond between your pack and Hydra, the spirit of the grove, the sun begins to rise and the storm breaks, and the rays of sunlight stream into the grove, perhaps for the first time in some time. and you head off into the woods and back towards Manitou Springs, knowing that something greater can be built here, but that you'll also have to fight for it. And I think that is where we will wrap up our werewolf campaign.
I haven't
Thanks
cared.
everybody for watching. Thank you guys for playing.
No, thank you.
Oh, it's really great.
It was really good. Oh, there's so much more to do though.
Oh yeah, we're still going back to Waco. I mean, you know, we have people on that now. On that very
Sorry, I
thing,
shouldn't say
so.
wrap up our werewolf campaign. Wrap up our werewolf season. I'll put it that way. The season that was all of 3 days in game.
Yeah, it was a one shot, wasn't it?
Right.